According to statements made by the president of South Korea, the leader of the North, Kim Jong un, has said that he is willing to abandon his nuclear weapons program as long as the DPRK can have some kind of guarantee to their safety. In other words, if they can receive some kind of guarantee they won't be invaded, they will abandon their nuclear weapons and missile program. Pyongyang is prepared to begin negotiations with the U.S. and would abandon its missile tests while they take place, the South's officials said on Tuesday. Kyung Il-jung, the South Korean Presidential National Security Director, said North Korea agreed to suspend all of its nuclear and missile tests for as long as it holds talks with the White House. Now, this is a little bit different than what is being said in the media. They said they're willing to hold off on any tests of any weapons technology so long as there's an actual discussion going on, which seems fair enough. Now, this agreement comes after a very warm reception between the two countries during the Pyeongchang Olympics. They competed together, they marched under the same flag, the unification flag, and things are going very well between the two sides. This was not welcomed by the United States, who attempted to freeze out the North but failed to do so. Now, this comes as they've agreed to hold a summit with South Korea's President Moon Jae-in on the country's border. So they are in talks right now, the North and the South, which don't necessarily include the United States. Now, Kyung said that there's going to be a hotline set up between the two countries, seemingly very similar to the one that existed between Moscow and Washington during the Cold War. Now, it's interesting to note that the point of having nuclear and missile technology for the North is to defend itself from attacks by the United States. If the United States can guarantee that they weren't going to attack the DPRK, then they wouldn't need them. And this seems like a completely rational point here. The problem is, we know the United States isn't going to go along with this. We know the U.S. is going to allow the DPRK to exist in peace. For unending decades, it has been the policy of the United States to destroy the DPRK by whatever means they have necessary. And this is not included too much in terms of military action because of the, frankly, retaliatory capability of the North. And this is particularly serious now that nuclear weapons are essentially in their hands. But I mean, if the United States came to you and said, hey, we promise not to invade you, carry out any kind of political assassination, or interfere in your economy in any militarized way, would you really believe them? No. And rightfully so, nobody should believe them if they say something like that. Now, while this is a great gesture by the DPRK saying that they would be willing to abandon their nuclear weapons in exchange for guarantees of their peace, they know full well, just as everybody else does, this is not a guarantee that the United States is going to give. The United States is singularly determined to end the North and capture the country for its own economic gains. Cheap resources, access to cheaper labor, etc. This is the very basis for imperialism. And the United States did not suddenly stop becoming an imperialist country. I mean, this threat by the United States is not going to go away. And we should not expect it to go away so long as the United States exists. And so long as the United States exists, so will the nuclear and missile technology inside of the DPRK.